It started like any other winter morning. The sun barely broke the horizon, casting pale pink light over the Arctic expanse. Everything was silent, untouched, and frozen in time, except for the sharp slash of metal against ice. That sound belonged to Lucas Grahn. A 27-year-old professional snow skater from Oslo, Lucas wasn't just known for his graceful routines, but for where he chose to perform them, the wildest, most isolated places on Earth. He called it ice communion, skating in nature's silence, far from cheering crowds and indoor arenas. Today, he was skating across the vast frozen basin of Lake Vinnerherd, a rarely traversed glacial mirror deep in the Norwegian wilderness. No signal, no buzz, no one for miles. Just Lucas, two drones capturing his wide shots, and the sharp blades of his skates. He glided with ease, slicing through the brittle surface like a whisper of wind. Every movement was fluid, practiced, controlled. But even the best control can't prepare you for what lies beyond reason. Beneath that silent lake and thick snow-laced forest, something was stirring. Watching, an apex predator of legend. A phantom of the north. The white snow tiger, once believed extinct, had awakened. And it was hungry. Welcome to our channel where we reveal untold truths. Go ahead and press red subscribe button and turn on notifications for more updates. The cold that morning wasn't just biting, it was invasive. The type of chill that creeps under your skin and wraps itself around your bones. Lucas had been skating for nearly 30 minutes, warming himself through motion, but even he noticed something off. The lake, usually echoing with the soft cracks and creaks of moving ice, was dead silent. The usual clicks, no birds, no shifting wind, no signs of other animals had vanished. It felt like something had pressed pause on the entire world. His drone circled high above, feeding crisp footage into his handheld monitor. Lucas was proud of his setup, two high-end drones, GPS-locked, filming from multiple angles. But as he paused on the ice to review a few takes, he noticed something strange in the corner of one shot. A flash of white. Not snow, not reflection, movement. Alive. He adjusted the lens, squinting into the image. Nothing. Just frost and silence. Maybe a trick of light? Or maybe his own breath fogging up the screen. But the unease lingered, stubborn and cold. Lucas shook it off. He chalked it up to isolation, the way the brain starts playing games when you're this alone. But Lucas wasn't alone. A mile away, nestled in a shadowed glade of pines, the white snow tiger crouched. Muscles coiled, eyes locked onto its prey. It was massive, larger than any Siberian cousin, with fur so pale it nearly shimmered. Most believed these creatures were extinct, stories passed down by northern hunters and whispered in the villages along fjords. Not a single confirmed sighting in over 50 years. And yet here it was, breathing, watching. The tiger had followed the vibrations. It heard the blades whispering across the eyes from miles away. It had been tracking them all morning, patient and precise. It didn't rush. It didn't need to. Apex predators don't chase, they position. Lucas resumed his routine, skating faster now, building up speed for a wide, circular drift shot. The ice was perfect, untouched, unmarred. He smiled, unaware that just beyond the tree line, a shadow moved closer. Then it happened again. Another flash on the monitor. Not behind him, to the side. Closer. He stopped abruptly. Heart racing now. The drone feed stuttered, glitched for a split second, then resumed. He tapped the screen, trying to rewind. But just then his second drone, the closer one, let out a loud mechanical whir and lost connection. Signal lost. Battery full. No interference. No storm. It had been knocked out of the sky. Lucas turned in slow circles on the ice, scanning the frozen horizon. But everything looked peaceful, still. But sometimes the deadliest moments are the quietest. Suddenly, a soft growl, so low it was almost a rumble from under the lake. Lucas turned again. Nothing. Then movement. A white blur at the edge of the trees, gone before he could focus. He wasn't sure if he was imagining it, but every instinct in his body was screaming one thing. Get off the ice. And for the first time in his life, Lucas Grahn, the master of composure, The man who skated above fear felt the one emotion he'd never allowed himself to indulge: dread. But by then, it was already far too late. Lucas took one step backward on the ice. Just one. And the sound it made was deafening, a soft crunch that shattered the illusion of safety he'd carried since sunrise. Every instinct screamed for him to move, to skate, to run, but where? The pine forest loomed on one end, dense and concealing. The frozen expanse stretched endlessly behind him. No cover, no exit, and still no visible threat. But the feeling of being watched was unbearable. It clung to him like a second skin. Lucas glanced at his remaining drone, trying to send it higher, wider, anything to scout what his eyes couldn't find. The feed was smooth, clear. Then it glitched again. Only this time, it wasn't random static. It froze for less than a second on something horrifying. A white figure, a shape, eyes, low to the ground. Watching, Lucas dropped the monitor. It cracked on the ice, but he didn't care. He was skating now, powerful strides across the surface, like a bullet skimming water. His breaths came fast and ragged. Each push forward carved a path of panic. He didn't look back, because he heard it. The crunch, the weight, the sprint. The tiger had made its move. And it wasn't stalking anymore. It was charging. The sound was like thunder on the ice, paws hammering down with brutal rhythm, claws tearing through the crust of frozen snow. Lucas veered sharply, nearly losing balance. His camera swung wildly from his vest, banging against his chest. He reached for his emergency flare, the one clipped to his belt. A signal, a chance, a desperate hope. But before his fingers could grasp it, he felt the shift in wind, the wrongness in the air. He turned his head. Too late. The tiger struck. Its body collided with his like a speeding van, all muscle and fury. Lucas was airborne for a second, then crashing, sliding across the ice in a blur of snow and blood. His scream echoed, a raw, terrible sound that was swallowed quickly by the frozen silence. He tried to crawl. His glove left a red smear across the surface. But the tiger was already on him, one paw pinning his back, the claws digging through his jacket like paper. Its breath steamed against the back of his neck. Lucas screamed again. He didn't beg. He didn't cry. But the fear in his eyes, captured for a fleeting second by the drone still hovering, told a story of horror most humans will never know. The tiger leaned down, muzzle near Lucas's head. It didn't roar. It growled, low and ancient, like a sound ripped from the core of the earth. Then it bit. The snow around them turned dark. His GPS tracker continued blinking for 6 minutes. Then it stopped. The drone battery died 11 minutes later, drifting slowly to the ground. And just like that, the vast, beautiful lake returned to silence. No crías, no straged, no man, only wind, and a trail of blood disappearing into the trees. The morning Lucas failed to check in, no alarms were raised. He was known to vanish for days, a soul that found solace where no cell towers could reach. But when a full 48 hours passed without a single ping, message, or post, those who knew him best felt it deep in their bones. Something was wrong. His sister, Elena, was the first to act. She called the Rangers, called again, then drove 6 hours to the edge of the reserve and practically demanded a search. The officers were polite but distant. They'd seen this before. Overzealous explorers get lost, run out of supplies, come back days later sunburnt and apologetic. But this was Lucas. He was experienced, equipped, meticulous, and most importantly, he had a GPS beacon clipped to his jacket, always. He joked it was for uploading selfies to heaven, but really, it was there in case of emergency. That beacon had gone dark. A small team was dispatched to his last known coordinates. Snow had recently fallen, covering most of the terrain. But on the ice, something stood out. A cracked monitor, a blood-smeared glove, and claw marks. Deep ones. That changed everything. The area was sealed. A larger crew was flown in. Drones were deployed, dogs were brought in, but the scent vanished at the edge of the forest. There was no sign of Lucas, no body, no camera, no bag. Nothing. Only the faint red trail and silence. Theories swirled. Avalanche? No terrain for it. Injury? Then where was he? Animal attack? That got traction until the rangers remembered. No Siberian tigers had been reported in this area for over 40 years. And yet, the claw marks were unmistakable. 4 toes. No nalsets. Spacing too wide for a lynx, too deep for a wolf. One ranger, older, skeptical, stood over the site and muttered, "Tiger. Has to be. Or a damn ghost." That's when things started getting strange. Lucas's drone, thought to be lost, was recovered nearly 2 kilometers away by hikers who weren't even part of the search. They turned it in, curious about the blinking red light and low battery warning. The footage was damaged, glitched, but not entirely. A tech team managed to stabilize a few frames, and what they revealed sent chills down every spine in the room. A blurry figure, pale, huge, moving just behind the tree line, eyes reflecting light, and one single frame, showed a flash of orange and white. Faint stripes. It was enough. The media got wind of it. Tiger attack in Canada. Ghost cat of the north. Headline spun wild tales, but no one had answers. And Elena? She was breaking. Every interview tore her apart. She insisted on watching the footage, every second, every frame. Looking for hope. Looking for her brother's face. She never found it. Instead, she found something else. A piece of his jacket, half frozen near a tree, far from the attack site. And embedded in it, a claw. Long curved, unmistakably feline. That wasn't just a clue. That was a message. Someone, or something, didn't want Lucas to be found. And that's when the whispers began. About old military experiments. Abandoned enclosures. Animals that never should have been released. Or worse, ones that were never caught. It was the footage recovered from Lucas's drone that changed everything. Among the corrupted files, engineers salvaged a 3-minute clip. Most of it was shaky, a blur of trees, sky, the occasional flash of snow. But at timestamp 2:11, the camera steadied, just briefly, and there it was. Lucas. He was walking briskly, half jogging through a clearing, panting hard. He looked back twice. His face pale, focused, terrified. Something was behind him. And then, the growl. Low, rumbling, predatory. The kind of sound that sends every nerve in your body into lockdown. The drone auto-tracked the noise, adjusting midair. What it caught next was almost too quick to see. But freeze frame by freeze frame, the horror unfolded. A flash of orange and white tore across the forest floor, bounding within human speed. The Siberian tiger. Not a ghost. Not a myth. Real. Massive. Silent. Lucas ran. The snow gave him no traction. He slipped once, caught himself. The drone caught his voice, muffled by the wind. Oh, God, no. Then the tiger lunged. It wasn't like a documentary attack. There was no slow-motion pounce. No warning snarl. It was surgical, efficient, a blur of muscle and fawn. The tiger struck Lucas from behind, throwing him several feet into a tree. The crunch of bone, the scream, and then silence. But the tiger wasn't finished. It paced, circled, then turned toward the drone. The drone's altitude dropped. Whether due to the wind or Lucas's original control settings, it descended just enough for the tiger to leap, swiping with its paw. The footage ends in static. That video never made it to the public. Elena saw it. The Rangers saw it. A few officials, too. Then it was locked away, labeled as ongoing investigation material. But word spread. Whispers of a predator never meant to exist in that forest. Whispers of something brought here and then forgotten. The attack on Lucas was brutal, but it wasn't random. Experts later confirmed that Siberian tigers don't typically stalk humans, not unless provoked or starved. This one wasn't starving. It was methodical, territorial. It was hiding for years, and no one saw it until it wanted to be seen. Lucas's body was never recovered. The search teams found blood, drag marks, a partially shredded backpack, but no remains. Some say the tiger dragged him deep into the forest. Others think it was covering its tracks. But the most chilling theory? It wasn't alone. Scratches on bark. Multiple paw prints. Different sizes. different spacing, indicating not one, but possibly two or more large cats. A mating pair? Offspring? The government refused to confirm. In fact, they went quiet. Rangers were rotated out. The area was closed under the excuse of environmental restoration. Drones were grounded due to airspace policy. And Elena? She was warned. Twice. First, a polite phone call. Please respect the investigation timeline. Then a letter. No return address. Inside, a blurry photo of a tiger, eyes glowing in the darkness. No words, just the image. That was enough. Elena stopped talking to press, moved back to the city. And yet, every week, she logs into the old GPS app, just in case. One day it pinged. A faint signal, just for a second. From deep within the same reserve. Same coordinates. Same spot. Then it vanished again, as if something or someone wanted her to know the tiger is still there, and the silence won't last forever. The official report on Lucas's disappearance was brief, too brief. Presumed death by environmental accident, likely hypothermia or predation by native wildlife. No mention of a tiger. No mention of the drone footage. No mention of Elena's frantic calls to investigators or the mutilated GPS device recovered near the base of a tree with deep claw marks gouged into its casing. But those who were close to the investigation knew better. Ranger Hassan, one of the first to search the area, quietly leaked details to a retired journalist. He spoke of evidence too large to belong to wolves, of excrement containing fur, and even synthetic materials, like fragments of a jacket. He spoke of tracks wider than his hand, and a set of amber eyes watching from the trees that vanished the moment he turned his head. Then, Hassan disappeared. No Bouvier, no forwarding address. His cabin, emptied overnight. Elena tried to keep pushing. She filed official requests for drone footage, park surveillance logs, even ranger communication transcripts. But each request was returned with the same response. Unavailable due to national security classification. That phrase, national security, was a red flag. A few clicks deeper into forums and archived articles, and she found a trail of old stories going back nearly 20 years. An experimental wildlife program. Russian apex predators imported under the guise of crossbreeding research. Backroom deals between private zoos, defunded conservation labs, and one elusive entity. Virex Dynamics, a defense contractor. Virex was supposedly working on behavioral modeling of predator responses in unfamiliar terrains. Jungle cats in temper zones. Par écologie, par surveillance. Lucas may have stumbled upon one of their abandoned zones. There were rumors. A wildlife drop gone wrong. A cover-up. A lone tiger that survived. Adapted. Bred. And now, hunted. But not by the government. By them. There were reports of black-clad units sweeping the forest late at night, GPS jammers activated across the valley, and strange howls echoing. Not quite tiger, not quite machine. Locals were told it was training exercises. But Elena received something else. An unmarked envelope slid under a door. Inside was a printed still image, grainy and dark, but clearly from a thermal drone. At the center, a man lying prone on snow. One heat signature above him, large quadrupedal. Another standing farther back, humanoid, observing. Below it, one phrase was scrawled in red ink. He saw too much. So did you. Elena left her apartment the next day. Changed her number. Deleted her social media. But she couldn't forget the image. She'd seen the shape in the thermal outline before, the one standing back. A man, wearing a patch on his chest. Not government. Private sector. She began piecing together everything Lucas had captured, from old notes, cloud backups, corrupted files. The deeper she dug, the clearer the picture became. Lucas wasn't just a lost hiker. He was a witness to a forgotten experiment left to die in silence, to a predator never meant to roam these woods, and to a secret that someone or something would kill to protect. There are no memorials for Lucas, no park benches, no trail signs bearing his name, just whispers among hikers. Don't go past the third ridge. Never hike alone. If you hear nothing, run. And in Elena's possession, one final clip, corrupted but partially restored. Lucas's voice, just before the end. They lied. There's more out here than they ever told us. If anyone finds this, know that I didn't slip. I didn't fall. I was hunted,